guiding you through the series of HTML, just HTML focus. So I'll be guiding you how to create a website using HTML, to create a structure of your website using HTML. So I won't do this alone without employing the service of a code editor. So the first thing you need to know is before you write HTML codes, you need a code editor, because that's the place you'll be writing your set of codes. So let me guide you through a process of installing a code editor. There are several code editors. We have Visual Studio Code, we have the Notepad++, we have the brackets, we have Sublime Text. So we need to install our Notepad first before I proceed with whatever we are going to do. But first, let me explain a brief about HTML. HTML is a standard markup language. That's the full name, standard markup language. It is used for creating web pages. It describes the structure of a web page, and it consists of series of an element. It uses each element to tell the browser how to display the content that is being coded or that is being sent to the browser. HTML elements labels pieces of a word content, such as heading. This is a paragraph, this is a link. With the help of elements in HTML, it tells the browser how to do what? Structure the document, and how to do what? Also display it. So before we proceed to see how the simple HTML document looks like, we need to install our what? Text or code editor. And the code editor we are going to use is the word Visual Studio Code. So on your browser, you just go to your browser and type Visual Studio Code and click on Enter. Okay, that's it. So you click on it. So it has so many versions. It varies from operating system. If you are using Windows operating system, download the one for Windows operating system. If you are using Linux operating system, download the one for Linux operating system. And if you are using what? Macintosh operating system, also download the one for what? Macintosh what? Operating system. So this Visual Studio Code is only available for Windows 10 and above. The versions for Windows 8 is already deprecated, it's obsolete. You can no longer see it. Even if you try to download Visual Studio Code on Windows 8, it won't work. So I'm using the Windows operating system, and the version of Windows operating system I'm using is version 11. So I'm going to download the one for Windows operating system. And the version 11, the operating system format now I'm using is 64, X64, that's a 64-bit operating system, not 32-bit operating system. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to here, to click on download. Okay, so once I get to this particular page, how do I download? You can see the one for Linux, you can see the one for Linux, you can see the one for Macintosh. So I'm going for this Windows. You can see it already tells you that it's for Windows 10 or 11. So I click on download for Windows 10 or 11 because that's the one I'm going to download. I click on it. Okay, it tells me thanks for downloading Visual Studio Code for Windows. So my download, you can see that my download is already working. So I hold on. So I hold on a bit while the download completes. So I hold on a bit. Can I see the download? We're almost there. Okay, our download is done. So the next thing we are going to do is to open in folder. Click in show in folder to locate the folder the download is. So that is it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to click on it. So I will click on accept the agreement and click on next. Click on next. Click on next. So I need to create a Word desktop icon. So I click on next. Install. So the installation process has started. So you need to hold on while the installation process runs. Okay, the installation has completed. So the next thing you're going to do is to check here. If it's not checked, you check it and click on finish. So as to enable you launch your Visual Studio Code once you click on finish. So you hold on while your Visual Studio Code launches. Okay, wow. That's your Visual Studio Code. It has launched. So already I have some pre-existing work I'm already doing. So for you as a developer that just installed it newly on your system, the first thing you get is a kind of a window. You get a new window like this. You get a new window like this. So the first thing we are going to do is, since we are going to work with HTML, the first thing you are going to do is to create a file. Create a file, click on new file, okay? And the file you are going to create, you can call it anything. Either you call it your name or you call it your surname. So I will have to save it with the root file of every website. Each website that you open, the root file is normally saved with what? Index.html. So let me save it as index. So I click on create file. So I now select the location. I will save the file. I select desktop as my location. I add the file extension .html, or you can save it with .htm. It's the same thing. So I click on create file. So automatically, this is my .html file, and this is the Visual Studio Code environment. So let's go over to the next thing we have. So the next thing we have there is let's look at how the simple HTML document structure looks like. So for we to get this simple HTML document structure, you need to go back to your your Visual Studio Code and the file you just created. On your keyboard, press Shift-1. You get an exclamation mark and you press enter. So as you have pressed enter, you can just see that you have gotten the basic structure of a HTML document. Let me explain this basic structure in details. The first thing you have there is your document type. Document type declaration just defines that the document you are working with is of HTML5 type, because the HTML we are going to work with in the course of this tutorial is HTML5. Although we have older HTML, but we are not going to use those ones. The one we are going to work with is HTML5. So once you see the doc type HTML declaration, it defines that this document is a what? HTML5 what? Document. So the next tag you see there is the HTML tag. It's an element. They say that HTML element is the root element of a HTML page. It defines that is HTML element you are working with. So this HTML element always has an attribute. So if you check this place, you see that there is an attribute attached to known as lang, the language attribute, equal to the value en. En is an acronym for English. So the language we are working with is what? English. So that's the thing. The next thing there is the head element. The head element contains the meta information about the HTML element. It contains the meta information using the word meta tags. It just gives information about that particular HTML page you are working with. How you want it to be structured and listed on what? Search engines. That's the thing. So the next thing we have there is a title element. It specifies the title for the HTML page, which is shown on the browser. Okay, which is shown on the browser. Just like if you go over to this Visual Studio Code website, if you check on the title bar, you will see this title. So this title was added using the title element or title tag. So it just gives you what? The title. It gives you the title or the name of the particular word, file or particular page you are on or you are looking at or you are working with. So that's the thing. So the next thing we have there is the body element. It defines the word document's body, and it is a container for all the visible contents such as headings, paragraph, images, hyperlinks, tables, lists, etc. The H1 element defines a large heading, and the paragraph, the P element defines a paragraph. Yes. So in our next session, we'll be talking about the HTML element. So you can just, I believe by now you have understand what the HTML document structure is all about. Just like if you look closely in this document structure, you see the meta tag. You have the meta character set. It's not a chat set, it's character set, or you can call it cassette. Also, cassette is the meta character set. It itself the word type of encoding of the HTML word element. Normally we use the UTF-8. We have another one known as the meta name, and the value is viewport. Content width, device width, initial scale is equal to 1.0. Along the course of this tutorial, in other series, I'll be teaching you more on how the meta tags work. We also have the meta name. We have the meta name description. The content can be the description of your website that goes on search engine listing. You have the another one, the meta name keywords. Those are the keywords you add to enable the user to be able to get to your web page fast. For example, the user wants to search on social media handles. He tapped it on Google search engine. So if you use the right keyword, your own information or your own details will come out first, or it may be ranked the first 20 in the results console of Google search engine. So you already know what the title is all about. In the next session of this tutorial, I'll be teaching you more on what HTML elements. Thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you find this content useful. So if you find this content useful, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you. See you on our next series, HTML elements. Thank you.